Howdy, howdy, all. Welcome on into Goose Talks Film. I'm your host, Goose, and we are looking at the 2025 Oscars, aka the Academy Awards, where I'll predict and preview the show. This is the second time I've done this on the podcast here, so if it's your first time listening, I have a relatively okay streak, right? When it comes to predicting things correctly. I think I was, from memory, 72, 73% correct last time, which was pretty amazing. But anyway, this is Goose Talks Film. I'm your host, Goose. We are usually doing weekly new release movie reviews, but it is award season. I don't do every award show like I would like to. It's just probably a bit too much for me to cover and for you to listen to because it does get quite repetitive. But I have watched every single movie nominated for Best Picture, which is great because I always like to break up and say, oh, who I think will win, who I think should win, who could possibly is a smoky to win. And if you're a big Oscars buff or just a big movie buff, like a lot of people watch the Oscars for different reasons. Some people, like my grandparents, for example, have always watched or have watched the Oscars in the past because it's the spectacle of it, right? It's just what you did. Even if you're American, Australian, wherever you lived, you watched the Oscars. Probably a bit easy for Americans because it is filmed and aired live at night time over there. It's morning/noon here in Australia. But people watch it for different reasons. They watch it for the host. They watch it for the movies. They're really rallying for to win, or actors or actresses or directors or writers that they get behind. I see a lot of people that are tuning in this year that I've read online and people that have told me in person, they're only watching this year and they've never been Oscars watchers or viewers in the past, or haven't watched in a long time, but they are going to watch because of Conan O'Brien is hosting, which I think is great. It's obviously a massive credit to Conan himself, massive credit to the producers and the people involved with picking him and convincing him to host. He's not a big movie actor by any stretch. I don't know. He's got a movie coming out. He's barely done any movies where he's the lead. Done plenty of cameos on movie and TV. He's obviously best known, for a writer, he's best known for his work on SNL, where he wrote some of the best sketches ever. Like, if you look up his resume of writing sketches on SNL and watch the ones he wrote, amazing track record. And obviously, he was late night talk show host for a long time. He had the Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and he did obviously the Tonight Show, very short lived. That's a podcast episode for another time. And he obviously had his own show on TBS called Conan, which was in the same vein, but he had a bit more freedom. And he's kind of been doing just a lot of stand up lately, and still doing his writing. He's obviously had his specials, his own TV shows, and him hosting the Oscars, I think, is really good. I like when they get Oscars hosts that aren't your big movie stars or aren't just big names in general, but they fit the bill. Kind of like Billy Crystal, right? So when he was first started hosting the Oscars, he wasn't, by any stretch of imagination, a massive movie star. He wasn't one of even the biggest comedic movie stars at that point. He obviously went on to do City Slickers and a lot of other big name movies after he'd already hosted the first time. He obviously did When Harry Met Sally. He was on my favourite season of Saturday Night Live, season 10, the All-Star season with Christopher Guest, Martin Short, Harry Shearer, big names in that cast. So he was also on the sitcom Soap, which was his kind of big break. He was also meant to be on the first episode of SNL, but if you've seen the movie Saturday Night, it actually covers it, where he kind of, all of his time doesn't get cut, but it was enough time of his segment to be cut where his jokes weren't going to land and his whole segment wasn't going to work if he had to cut time out of it. So he walked away and he ended up coming back to SNL, but when Lorne Michaels wasn't in charge. But anyway, I'm a massive SNL fan, by the way, so I'm kind of rattling on a little bit about SNL. I love SNL so much. Super fan. So it's great. I think the viewership is probably going to be the best it's been in a long time. I think people are kind of coming around to the Oscars a bit more. There was a lot of, not so much hatred, but a lot of people, including myself, the right movies weren't getting rewarded. They weren't getting nominated. They were just getting pushed to the side. Like, horror has been for a long, long time. And I always find it funny when you say, oh, Silence of the Lambs was one of the first and only Best Picture horror winners, along with The Exorcist, which I do believe was the first. And you obviously had Silence of the Lambs, and you had obviously Kathy Bates win Best Lead Actress for Misery. But when you bring those ones up, excluding The Exorcist, people are like, oh, they're not really horror movies. And that's kind of the bullshit that I don't like. And I've kind of been rallying for The Substance to kind of win at least a few awards at this Oscars, just like I was rallying behind Get Out. Because outside of those two, we haven't really had horror movies really rewarded as they should be at the biggest award show there was, is, and ever will be. And yeah, The Substance got really good nominations this year, but there was other great horror movies that were on its level as well. It was a great year of horror movies last year. I covered a lot of them. This is not just a horror-based movie podcast / channel, but I do heavily lean towards reviewing horror because that's what I like to talk about. I think there's some great stories and really interesting to talk about. So, you had Nosferatu didn't get a Best Picture nomination, which I think is laughable when you look at some of the other movies that did get a Best Picture nomination. Late Night with the Devil, Heretic, sorry. Those are just a few of the big name horror movies that were just not great horror movies, but great films in general that were just left out in the rain. And it's kind of one of those things where, a bit like Get Out in 2017, was a great year for horror movies. Probably not as good as what it has been last couple of years, but it won Best Original Screenplay, which was such a big win for horror, certainly in the screenplay category. If horror movies win anything, it is usually your technical awards like visual effects, makeup, sound, that type of stuff. Costuming, production design. And there has been the odd Best Picture and Best Director wins. Silence of the Lambs, if you can it or not. Misery for, Best Lead Actress, if you can it or not. The Exorcist is one that you definitely can count as a horror movie. Jaws, probably. Horror movie. Those are, it's less than you can count on one hand the amount of times that proper, full-fledged horror movies won Best Picture. Even if you include the Silence of the Lambs. When it comes to Best Picture and all that, and it's so annoying because it comes down to, it feels as though the Academy voters are like, all right, we can only pick one horror movie that gets Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress/Actor nominations, and it's The Substance this year. I mean, David Dow's Mansion should be nominated for Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil should be nominated for Screenplay. It should be nominated for Cinematography. Best Picture, Heretic. Hugh Grant should be nominated for Heretic. Heretic should be nominated for Screenplay. Should be nominated for Best Picture. Nosferatu, yeah, got heaps of nominations. The thing got 5, all right? Heaps is a lot for a horror movie, by the way. But no Best Picture nomination. No Best Director for Robert Eggers. Are you kidding me? And then John Chu misses out for directing Wicked. Now, I'm not the biggest Wicked fan, right? I'm just not a big musical person. But that movie looked great. I ended up finishing it my second watch. The first time I watched it, I just wasn't in the mood for that type of movie. I'm like, I just can't watch this. I switched it off. Was probably in a better mood the second time around. I watched it and I really appreciated it. Although I don't think it should win a lot of awards. It should definitely win, costuming, production, along with Nosferatu. They're just the best looking films in terms of the technical stuff. Just phenomenal. The singing and the acting and the directing from John Chu, the choreography was just phenomenal. But yet, the director of Emily Perez gets nominated. Anyway, we'll get into it. I'm kind of rambling on a bit, so this is a very long introduction. I apologize. I am getting over a cold. That's why there hasn't been as many episodes as I promised, which I do apologize. There'll be this episode today/tonight. There'll be another movie review on the weekend, and then we'll have 2 movie reviews next week. So I do apologize for that. I am catching up. I will be doing some more trailer reaction videos over on YouTube in the next coming weeks as well. So make sure you're subscribed over on YouTube so don't miss out. Make sure you follow me wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you hear bagging in the background, I apologize. It's my dog playing with his ball. But whatever keeps him occupied when he's not barking, I don't care. Anyway, so yeah, we'll jump into the nominations. I've also got Gold Derby up here. If you don't know what Gold Derby is, it's the best site for this in terms of gauging everyone's opinions and they put it into odds. So it's like betting, but you don't actually bet real money. You have your own leagues with your friends and stuff. It's a bit like, your super coach or your fantasy football type thing. But what it does, it gets experts, editors, journalists, and viewers' opinions all into one, like who they're picking to win certain categories. And then it, has the odds and the favorites and all that type of stuff. So I'll be referring to that along with each category along my own opinion as well. I want to really delve deep into the Best Picture, Best Directing, and the Acting categories. So what I will start with is some of the other awards. Now, I won't be doing documentary or any of the short film categories because I haven't seen them, and it's just impossible for me to have an opinion or I'll just be guessing about things I don't really know about. So unfortunately, I won't be doing them. That does not take away from any of them because a lot of the best short directors go on to direct some amazing films. They end up getting their short films made into feature film. So not taking anything away from them at all. So we'll start from the bottom with the best visual effects. This is a stacked category. We have Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. And three of those movies feature monkeys or apes or gorillas or whatever, which I think is very, very interesting, which is Better Man, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and obviously Wicked in some form or another. I think this really comes down to two films. You have Dune Part 2 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the new franchise, which obviously had your original trilogy, and then now you've got the sequel that's set far, far in the future. It's always missed out on the best visual effects category, which is just crazy to me because I always think back and think, although they don't get rewarded at award shows like it probably should because some of the sequels were just phenomenal films. Like, they were just phenomenal films in terms of not just visual effects, but the directing and just the production value and all that. But they've never won. They've lost out to other movies in every year. So it's pretty crazy. And I thought, this is the year they win. And then I remember Dune Part 2, which is coming up to nearly a year that it released. So you kind of forget about it. And you're like, oh, wait, no. Which is funny because if you're a new listener or you didn't listen to the episode that I did back in early January, I did the Golden Goose Awards, the first annual, where I did my own voting system, and it was quite a lot of work. But Dune Part 2 won Best Overall Film, along with Best Action Sci-Fi Film, and I think it won some other categories as well. So, yeah, I forgot about it, even though it won at my flagship award show. So, it's between those two. I think Alien Romulus, that I think won Best Practical Effects at the Golden Goose Awards. Fantastic. I'm glad Alien Romulus got at least one nomination. It probably should have got maybe a cinematography nod, maybe a best sound nod as well. But look, it got the one. I'm happy with that. Horrors represented the most it has been at the Oscars in total in a long time, so I shouldn't complain too much, but I just get frustrated. And don't get me wrong, action and sci-fi get snubbed out of the Oscars as well. So, yeah, I think this is between Dune Part 2 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I would love to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes win, I think, in terms of visual effects and what they're able to do. And, yeah, I know that it's not anything new. They've been doing them in other movies as well, but like I've said, they've never won before, and it hasn't gotten worse. It's not like the MCU where the visual effects have gotten dramatically bad and worse every film, whereas these have been consistently fucking phenomenal. They look great. I think, yeah, it'd be great for them to win. I'll see what all the Gold Derby stuff is saying for best visual effects when I find it. So, yeah, the odds are pretty much Dune Part 2 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes are the top two, like I predicted they would be. Then Wicked, then Better Man, then Alien Romulus. So, he's calculating all the votes over, thousands and thousands worth of votes. As the top choice to win, 3,700 people picked Dune Part 2 to win, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes only has 119 top choice picks, and the Wicked's at 100. So, second and third are closer than 1 and 2, which is really, really surprising me. The odds are leaning way towards Dune Part 2 over Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So, I was probably going to pick Dune Part 2 anyway, just because it has won Best Visual Effects at other award ceremonies leading up to this. Although it's not a category that's at every award show. Obviously, it's not the Golden Globes. It's not at, obviously the SAG Awards and Directors Guild Awards. It did win Best Visual Effects at the BAFTAs. So, to me, it's pretty much Dune Part 2 for Best Visual Effects. And Best Sound is a complete unknown. Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I think lock it in for Dune Part 2. This one's closer than visual effects, which is really, really surprising to me. Dune Part 2 has 2,609 top choice votes, with Wicked at 1,291 top choice votes. which the next is a complete unknown at 291, which really surprised me. Then Emilia Perez has 14 and Wild Robot has 33. So very early on in the stages, Wild Robot was actually the favourite to win this. So I'm actually blown away that it's overall the fifth favourite. In terms of top choice, it's fourth. So it's obviously two-horse race with Dune Part 2 and Wicked. I think this is another one that Dune Part 2 wraps up. It's just this production, it's going to miss out on Best Film. It's not getting directing or acting nominations, not getting any writing. So I think it's going to be heavy on winning the technical stuff. I think he guaranteed it's going to walk away with 2. So I think he's going to walk away with Best Visual Effects and Best Sound, which I think is well deserving. The sound for Wicked was great. I'd put the Wild Robot up there with those 2 as well as the best sound from these 5 for sure. I think Emilia Perez is laughable and lucky to be there for best sound, honestly. And we have Best Song, which is El Mal. I'm going to mispronounce this, and I really do apologise. El Mal for Emilia Perez. The Journey for 6888. Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. And Mi Camino from Emilia Perez. I'm not a big fan of any of these songs, but I'm not really a big music person. It's very weird, I know. I don't really listen to music a lot. It's weird, I know. Emilia Perez is favourite to win this. El Mal, it has won other awards. I think also Mi Camino has won other awards as well. The Journey from 6888 could be a little smoky. We're not getting the performances at the Oscars this year, which is only the 3rd or 4th time in modern history that has happened, which is strange. Look, for all the shortcomings I think Emilia Perez has, I think his choreography is fantastic. The overall direction from the director in terms of the film directing isn't great, but the choreography with the musical elements and all that is really good, I have to say. It is great. And I think that if it's going to win one award, it definitely deserves Best Song, for sure. Out of these nominations, I think Like a Bird and El Mal are probably the best, I would say, in terms of different sounding and fitting the movie as well. So, yeah, I think this is a runaway for Emilia Perez. We have Best Score, which I originally thought was going to be a really tight race between Brutalist, Conclave, Wild Robot, and Wicked. Wicked isn't really close to being a favourite for this. Neither is Emilia Perez. The Brutalist looks like it's going to walk away with this, but I think Conclave is a little smoky for Best Score for sure. Wild Robot as well. I think if there's going to be a surprise win, which there always is at least one, I think this could be the category where there's a surprise. I think the Brutalist, if it wins, it's definitely a well-deserving win. I think the music overall in the Brutalist is fantastic. Same as Conclave and Wild Robot. I really, really love the score on Conclave. Like, that was just one of the reasons why I really like that movie, the way that it becomes a character of the film and an important character. So, if I was to pick the winner, I would have picked Conclave. Then Wild Robot and then the Brutalist, all quite close with each other. I think that Wild Robot probably isn't a chance to win. It's probably my heart talking because I really do love the music in general in that movie. I think I'm going to go with a surprise or a bit of a shock. I think I'll go Conclave for Best Score. I think it has won the awards leading up to it. I think it's been quite split, which is why I'm leaning towards a surprise in this category. We have Best Production Design, which is Wicked, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Conclave, and Nosferatu. Nosferatu being 5th in the favourites is just hilarious to me in all the bad ways. Then, second to last, you have Conclave, then Dune Part 2, The Brutalist, and Wicked. I think originally I thought, this is going to be a walk-away for Dune Part 2, with Nosferatu close behind, right? Well, I think Wicked's going to win this, which, like I said, Wicked deserves to win awards at this ceremony. And this is the only one it wins, which I don't think it will. I think it's got costume design wrapped up, which I'll tackle next. Yeah, The Brutalist production design, I wouldn't have this high up. It's not one of the technical things I would really think of first when I think of The Brutalist. Probably one of the last things, to be honest. It's got good production design, don't get me wrong, but I think the music, the cinematography, and the costuming are probably the things I would think about outside of the acting and all that. But I think Wicked probably has this wrapped up. I think, even though Brutalist is second favourite on Goldie, I think Dune Part 2 would be closer to win. If there is a shock win in this category, which I don't think there will be, it would be during part 2 and probably not The Brutalist or Conclave or Nosferatu, unfortunately. So I'm going to lock in Wicked for this one. It's a favourite by quite a length as well. Best makeup and hairstyling, we have The Substance, Wicked, A Different Man, Nosferatu, and Emilia Perez in that order of favourite to not favourite. So The Substance, if this is the only award that it wins, which there is a possibility that this is the only award that The Substance wins. Demi Moore isn't locked in for Best Lead Actress. That's the tightest category there is probably, and I'll tackle that later. Or one of, at least. One of two toughest categories to predict. All of these. Probably Emilia Perez is probably the one that stands out as not being as good as the other ones in terms of makeup and hairstyling. Just because they're different, right? The other four are not just makeup and hairstyling in like the normal sense, right? These are like The Substance and Nosferatu, where they're transforming people into their characters they are, right? So I would have had actually, in my opinion, I would have actually had Nosferatu win this if I was to pick the award. I think the makeup and hairstyling was just incredible. The way that they transformed him to look like Orlok was just incredible. It just was fantastic. And the overall hairstyling and the makeup. Excuse me for that. Like I said, I'm still getting over a cold. Hopefully you didn't hear too much of that. I really do apologise. I didn't pause in time and that came out of nowhere. If you're watching, I've gone really red in the face. I apologise. I'm not going to edit it out. I always say here in Goose Talks, I don't edit shit, so I want you guys to see the big raw deal, right? I want you to hear me fuck up names and stuff my words up. I want you to do me. See? I want you to see me do weird shit and fucking sneeze and shit. That's just who I am, alright? I'm not fake by any stretch of the imagination. Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, I would have had Nosferatu win. I think The Substance, well-deserved win, like I said. I want The Substance, just like Nosferatu, to win at least one award. Just one. So if this is the most likely candidate, which I think it is, I want it to be The Substance winning, which I think it will, which is my prediction. Best film editing is Conclave, Anora, The Brutalist, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. I think the two-horse race with Conclave and Anora. I think Conclave is still out in front by quite a stretch. I mean, it's got 3,109 top choice votes, with Anora at 959, Brutalist at 374, Emilia Perez at 44, and then Wicked at 112. So a bit of a stretch there from top to bottom. I think The Brutalist, I mean, I know editing's not always about length, but for a 3 hour and 21 minute movie for best editing, I'm not quite sure. But I'm being a bit facetious. I think Conclave, originally when I first watched Conclave, like well over a month ago now, I was worried like, and when I did a review here on the podcast, if you did or didn't listen, I said, I want Conclave to win one Oscar. It's too good of a movie to go winless. With the amount of nominations it's got to, it never looks good if a movie's got 7, 8, 9, 10 plus nominations with 0 wins. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't look great on a movie. And just how it is sometimes, unfortunately. But Conclave is now the clear favourite to win Best Film Editing. It's also favourite to win some of the big categories, which is quite shocking to me, but I'm all here for it. But if Conclave doesn't pull out the big one, just like The Substance, if this is a category that it wins for, well-deserved. Best Film Editing. The editing is just phenomenal in this, along with the music and all that. So I think it most likely now will win more than one. But if this is the one, then I'm fine with that. Then we have Best Costume Design, Wicked, Nosferatu, Conclave, Gladiator 2, and A Complete Unknown. Very surprised that Gladiator 2 has only got one nomination. I thought it was going to be a lock for production design, sound, best cinematography, maybe. But unfortunately, Gladiator 2 won't be winning because I don't think it's going to win best costume design over the likes of Wicked, Nosferatu, and Conclave. Again, originally I thought this could be a win for Nosferatu, but I think Wicked's got this wrapped up. And like I said, well-deserved too. Well-deserved. I think any of these movies, even A Complete Unknown, I think in terms of costuming and what they did to capture all of these different time periods, just, you've got a fantasy movie set in a fantasy realm in a fantasy time period. You have Nosferatu set back hundreds of years ago. You have Conclave set in modern times. You have Gladiator 2 obviously set back way, 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 and a complete unknown, I think, is the 50s, 60s. So, yeah, I think it's well represented, all different time periods. They all do a really good job. But, yeah, this is Wicked's award to win for sure. I don't think there's going to be a surprise win. I'd love for Nosferatu to have a surprise win, but best cinematography. Now, this was the award that I thought were guaranteed a win for Nosferatu. Like, I'm like, yeah, fucking lock it in. Not only is it the best looking movie in terms of cinematography of this year, it is one of the best shot movies I've seen. I don't know if I'll say ever, but fucking for a long time. I mean, the cinematography in this movie is just next level. Like, it is next level. You have other nominees like The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Maria, and Emilia Perez. I've not seen Maria, so I can't comment on that. Emilia Perez, the cinematography, I think, again, is likely to be nominated. But the other three, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and The Brutalist, all fantastic cinematography, all different styles of cinematography that fit their movies. Like I said earlier about other categories, they become a character of the film. And the cinematography in Nosferatu, like, it really does need to be rewarded. And I don't think we're going to get a Nosferatu win at all. And it's just so upsetting to me because it deserves to win. Like, but look, The Brutalist is a runaway favorite. It's 3,653 top choice. And then actually, Nosferatu and Dune Part 2 are equal on 399 top choice. So, could there be a surprise in this category? Possibly. The percentage is low, but I won't say it's 0% chance like best costume design for Wicked, right? This could go to Nosferatu or Dune Part 2. We might have a little movement of people saying, oh, we want to reward Nosferatu. Who are other people voting for? And we all know that voters talk to each other. They're not meant to, but they do. They've admitted it in the past that they do. So, and it has happened before. There's been movements to get certain movies or roles a win. It's just how it is. I think, personally, Brutalist is going to win, but there is a chance that Nosferatu or Dune Part 2 gets the still win. Best original screenplay, we have Anora, A Real Pain, The Substance, The Brutalist, and September 5. Just from surface level, I would say all 5 of these movies are a chance. I think September 5 maybe has a 1% chance, but the writing categories is a category where it's not always the big films that win, right? It's not always... You could grab 4 of the most likely movies to win Best Picture or Best Director. That doesn't mean that any of those 4 movies are going to win Best Original or Best Adapted Screenplay. Chances are one of them might win one or the other, but it's not always the case. I mean, you have Get Out that's won Best Screenplay in the past. Tarantino's won Best Screenplay, but his movies have never won Best Picture or never won Best Director. So these are really interesting categories to look at. I think 4 of these movies are a strong chance to win. Anora, A Real Pain, The Substance, and The Brutalist. I think A Real Pain just fits the bill of a movie they like to reward in the screenplay category that we've seen in the past, that even sole nominations, like their one nomination has been for a screenplay nomination and it's won. Doesn't happen all the time. It hasn't happened heaps, but it has happened, especially in the last 20 years. So it's a tough one. We've seen The Substance win Best Screenplay at quite a few of the big ceremonies. I've seen A Real Pain win some little ones. I've seen The Brutalist win. I've seen Anora win. So this is a tough one to pick. And Anora is top choice favourite at 3,543. A Real Pain's 527. The Substance is 630. The Brutalist is 115. And September 5 is at 12. So, like I said, September 5 is still a slim chance. It is the screenplay category, so you cannot cut anyone out of the running like I did in previous categories. Like I said, it's an enigma, the screenplay categories, original and adapted. You can't take anything into account with these categories. Yeah, you can have your favourites and your least favourites like I do with September 5 being least favourite, but if it won, I won't fall off my chair. I won't be that surprised because it is a very well-written movie And like I said, just because it's not even close to being a favorite for Best Picture doesn't mean a thing. I genuinely think that The Substance is going to win this, man. Like, that's probably my heart talking. And I know I said that Best Makeup, that's, in my opinion, that's a lock. So if I was to not watch the ceremony and someone contacted me and said, The Substance only won one Oscar, I would say Best Makeup and Hairstyling. But then if someone said it won two, I would say, well, it's won Best Makeup, Hairstyling, and either Demi Moore's won Best Lead Actress or it's won Best Original Screenplay. So I think it's The Substance. I think Anora is on the same level. I think, yeah, A Real Pain in the Brutalist are probably then the next level tier with September 5 being down the bottom. But yeah, I think this is between The Substance and Anora, honestly. Then you have Best Adapted Screenplay with Conclave, A Complete Unknown, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, and Emilia Perez. Like I said earlier, it goes to this category as well. I think this one's a bit more predictable. Still not fully predictable, but I would definitely say original screenplay is by far harder to pick. I think you have 4 of those movies in original that really have a strong chance. Not a slim chance or a chance, a strong chance. In this one, I think it's between 3. I think it's between Conclave, A Complete Unknown, and Nickel Boys, and even Sing Sing. It's a great movie, and Colman Domingo's probably not going to be a winner at the Oscars for his performance. Some people might want to reward it. Like I said, it is a very well-written movie. Same as the Nickel Boys. I would fucking love for the Nickel Boys to win, because that's a movie that's only got 2 nominations, Best Picture and a Best Adapted Screenplay. But it's, again, you can't reward every movie, and I know that, but I would be over the moon if Nickel Boys won this. I think Conclave is the clear favourite, as you know, as it says here on Gold Derby, the top choice, 4,416. Then A Complete Unknown is 56. Nickel Boys at 122. Sing Sing 39, and Emilia Perez at 21. Just like September 5, I think Emilia Perez is down the bottom, but you can't can it out 100%. You just can't. I don't think it's a big chance, but 0.5% chance is still a chance. So I think Conclave is a clear favourite for this, but A Complete Unknown, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing are right there as well. So this is very similar to the original category, where there's 4 films that could really honestly win this, with the 5th one being a very slim chance. This is the same for this one. I think Conclave, like I said, is more likely to win this than Anora or The Substance is to win Best Original. I'd bet my house on Conclave. But very interesting. I'll lock in Conclave, but I'm so intrigued for the writing categories. I really am. Now, Best Supporting Actor. This is very, very predictable and cut and dry. We've seen in the past that the supporting categories, there has been a few exceptions, but overall they are very predictable. There's one actor and actress that just sweeps most of the awards, if not all of them, and they end up winning. This being the case for Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. Then you have Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Yuri Borisov for Anora, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So, in original discussions, original betting odds and all that, you had Guy Pearce as the clear favourite for The Brutalist, and then you had Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong as the next favourites. Jeremy Strong is not even close to being a favourite. He's down the bottom. Same as Yuri Borisov. A lot of people want him to win. Great performance by him. Love to see him in things in the future. I think Edward Norton's likely to be nominated. Honestly, I think there's 3 better supporting performances. You know, name a few from Sing Sing. Hey, there probably even should have been a Best Supporting nomination for Nickel Boys or other movies as well. I think, in my opinion, I would say I would want the winner to be Guy Pearce or even Jeremy Strong. I think those 2 are very strong performances. I think Kieran Culkin, a lot of people are against him winning, saying that he's just playing himself. I think that's probably a bit harsh and completely not true. I think he's playing a character maybe in the same vein as himself, but some of the best actors can use that to their advantage, right? They pull from themselves and their real life experiences and their own personality to create this character. So, I mean, Kieran's going to win this. This is so cut and dry. Like, Kieran's winning this. There's no point talking about this category in depth, just like the supporting actress. Yeah, it's crazy that we've gone from Guy Pearce being the clear above favourite And then the Golden Globes happened, and then Kieran just took over, and it's been his party ever since. So it's always interesting to see the betting odds just before the Globes and after the Globes. A lot of people say the Globes don't matter, but it shifts a lot of things around. It really does. Best Supporting Actress, Zoe Saldana's going to win this. You have Ariana Grande for Wicked, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Felicity Jones for Brutalist, and Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. All phenomenal performances. All really, really good. Zoe Saldana is going to win this. A lot of people are really going for Ariana Grande. I think there's more chance of Ariana Grande winning this than there is Guy Pearce winning, because they're your two number twos in those categories respectively. But Zoe Saldana's winning. She's won every major award leading up to this. I think if Ariana Grande won the SAG, which there was a bit of speculation that she was going to, I would almost flipped to Ariana Grande winning. But she hasn't won any major awards leading up to it. It would be up there with Marissa Tomei winning for Best Supporting Actress back in the early to mid-90s for My Cousin Vinny. She also didn't win any major awards leading up to it, and she won the Oscar. Only time that's really happened in this category. In the acting categories in general. So, yeah, I think Zoe Saldana's got this one wrapped up. Excuse me. Best Actor. This one's probably a bit tougher because of recent circumstances. You have Adrien Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Colman Domingo for Sing Sing, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. So, Sebastian Stan, unfortunately, not a chance to win this at all. Adrien Brody's your favourite, but with Timothy Chalamet winning at the SAG Awards, it does kind of push a little bit of possibility that Adrien Brody, the clear favourite and has been since before the Globes, may not win. I mean, look, Adrien Brody's won every other major award leading up to this. So I would still be surprised if he doesn't win this. Fully deserved. I mean, any of these guys and other lead actors that missed out, like I thought Daniel Craig probably had his one of, if not the best performance of his career in Queer. I think it's very stiff to not be nominated, but this is a stat category, and which I think is really, really cool. They've released anonymous votes of what people did, and there was 5 people. 3 voted for Adrien Brody, 1 person voted for Ralph Fiennes, and another person voted for Colman Domingo. So I know that's only 5 votes amongst thousands, tens of thousands of votes, but it is very interesting because there's been little movements for all these actors. I think if Ralph Fiennes had a strong chance, he would have won the BAFTA. I think if he won the BAFTA and Chalamet won the SAG, we would have had one of the closest best lead actor races in a long time. But didn't go that way. I still think Adrien Brody's your favourite. Now Timothy Chalamet, I keep saying his name wrong. Far out. Now he's won the SAG. It does push a little bit of a percentage of his chance of winning. And look, I wouldn't be blown away if Fiennes or Domingo won. I would be absolutely fucking gobsmacked if Sebastian Stan won, just in terms of all the lead up and the odds and all that type of stuff. It's a very strong category. Yeah, there's big movements for all these actors' performances. But I think Adrien Brody, along with, Timothy, Ralph Fiennes, Colman Domingo, Sebastian Stan, just awesome performances. So fucking stacked, the acting categories. But I think Brody's still got this locked in, where it's not the same in the best lead actress category, and that's for sure. We have 3 very, very strong chances to win here. The 2 that aren't even a chance to win is Cynthia Erivo for Wicked and Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. They just haven't had, excuse me, any favoritism at any awards. They haven't had any build-up. There's been not a lot of movements for them to win. Whereas you have Demi Moore for The Substance, Mikey Madison for Anora, and Fernando Torres for I'm Still Here. They've all won at least one major acting award leading up to the awards ceremony. You have Mikey and Demi kind of splitting the big ones, with Demi, I think, still winning more overall. But Fernanda, has won major ones as well. So, I mean, Fernanda won Best Drama Actress, whereas Demi won Best Comedy. So kind of split the 2, whereas Mikey didn't win a Globe, but she won other major awards as well. So this is, I think Fernanda's probably, crazy enough, I think she's more of a chance to win than Mikey, but this is very, very difficult. I think, given her career And we all say that it should be awarded on the single performance individually, which I agree with. Sometimes when it's this close and it's so hard to pick between, different actresses, you kind of have to go towards, well, Demi's in her 50s. She's had a career for 40 years. This is probably her first and only chance to win an Oscar. Same as probably Fernanda as well, whereas Mikey's an up-and-coming, although they say that before, and then the up-and-comer never ever wins an Oscar. But I think that's what's going to separate them. I think Demi's going to get those votes, and like I said, I won't be surprised if the other two win, but I'll go with Demi. Best Director, two-horse race. You have Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Coralie Fargeau for The Substance, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, and Sean Baker for Anora. Brady Corbett for The Brutalist and Sean Baker for Anora are your two favourites. They've both been tit for tat in the Best Director category. Obviously, Sean Baker winning the Directors Guild Award for Best Director was a big win for him. That really bumped him up as the favourite. Because that is your field. That's the directors, your peers and your colleagues voting for you for Best Director. That's a fucking huge win for a director. So that Brady Corbett was the favourite. I mean, it wasn't even close. And then Coralie Fargeau won for Best Screenplay. So I hope she wins the Screenplay Award, like I said earlier. Don't think she's a big chance, slim chance. I won't be blown away. I'll be absolutely in awe if she wins. But I think it's a two-horse race. I still think Brady Corbett gets the chocolates, though. I think that he's more likely the one to win of the two films. Just a feeling I have, just from what I've seen and the awards given. So then for Best Picture, we have Nickel Boys, Dune Part 2, I'm Still Here, The Substance, Emilia Perez, Wicked, A Complete Unknown, The Brutalist, Conclave, and Anora. So Anora is a clear favourite here, which is surprising a little bit. It's won a few Best Picture awards, but this has been quite split. Conclave has won 2 Best Ensemble awards at the Critics' Choice and at the SAG, which not every time and not even a lot, but quite frequently it has led to a Best Picture win. So I think it's a 3-horse race, Anora, Conclave, and The Brutalist. Then you have little sneaky chances from Wicked and The Substance. Even I'm Still Here, which is probably going to win Best International Film. It should win over Emilia Perez. Anyway, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, Emilia Perez probably aren't chances anymore. Yeah, it's tough. I'm going to go The Brutus and Conclave, the Tom leaning to, even more so than Anora. I think Conclave will win Best Picture. I think it's going to be one of those movies like we've seen in the past where it's going to win Best Picture, even though it doesn't win Best Director. But I think it's got the adapted screenplay wrapped up. And Best Picture, we've seen heaps of Best Picture winners only win 2 or 3 awards. It's really not. We've seen Chariots of Fire, the only award it won. No, sorry, that's a lie. I think it won Best Music and Best Film. But there is a movie that only award it won was Best Picture. Excuse me. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that a movie like The Nickel Boys could win. Slim chance, but I think I'm gonna be annoying, and I'm gonna equally say Conclave and The Brutalist. I can't separate them. Nora, I mean, I won't be shocked at all if Nora wins. I won't be shocked at all. Slim outside chances from Wicked, The Substance, and then A Complete Unknown, and I'm Still Here are the next level. Very tough Best Picture nomination, which the Best Picture winner has been really hard to pick outside of Oppenheimer the last 5 to 10 years, which I really love. Just like when Ang Lee won Best Director for Life of Pi didn't win Best Film. So if Sean Baker or Brady Corbett win Best Director, does not mean The Brutalist or Anora are a lock for Best Picture. Conclave could still win. Wicked could still win. It's, really interesting race. I'm very, very excited. I'm really excited to see Conan. The presenters list looks pretty good so far. They're going to release more this week. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited for the ceremony in general. Let me know in a review on the podcast or in the comments section, or leave me a DM or whatever you want to do. List all your predictions for the winners. I'd love to see people's full list of their predictions, and let's compare afterwards and see who was right and who was deadly wrong. which I haven't taken as many surprise picks as I usually do. So I'm hoping I'm in 80% at least for my correct answers, but we'll wait and see. I think I'm really, really excited. Let me know if you're excited. What are you watching the Oscars for this year? Do you watch the Oscars every year? Do you watch it? Are you watching it because there's one movie that you're rallying for to win certain awards? Are you watching it for Conan? Are you literally only watching it for him? Because there's quite a few people like that. I think that's really, really cool. I think it's great for the Oscars and just TV in general. So, yeah, thanks for listening. Let me know your comments and your predictions and everything in a review or in the comments or DM, whatever you want to do. Like I said, make sure you're following me on Instagram and Facebook under Goose Talks Film, and follow me on YouTube where I do exclusive videos like reactions and tier lists and all that. So that is me out. Thank you for listening for quite a long episode for predictions. They're usually a lot faster than this, but I wanted to get in depth this time around. So yeah, as always, here on Goose Talks Film, make sure you support your local cinemas and watch those movies. I'll catch you later.